Good morning. My name is Jay Rao. I've been handling reasoning and arithmetic for the last 15 years, teaching for bank POs, staff selection commission, and have been handling CSAT right from the inclusion of CSAT in civil services. Clear? So this is my brief introduction. My name is Jay Rao. Right. So before going to the routine work, I would like to ask you a question. Like, did anyone attempt civils earlier? Anyone? Very good. You attempted? Okay, last year? This year? This year, okay. Right. See, before discussing the structure of exam, number of questions, okay, what are the areas that are there in that, first of all, we'll discuss the basic thing, because I don't want this discussion to be a monotonous, so let us have an interactive discussion, okay? Now, basically, you see, when you're coming here, you might have already come across, what is CSAT, okay, and all these things, all this stuff on that. You might have come across two contradictory views. One is, coaching is not at all required for CSAT. That's one school of thought, okay? I don't deny that, one school of thought. The other school of thought is that, yes, coaching is required, but it takes a lot of time to prepare for that. Should we have to prepare, or should we have to spend a lot of time on that? So these are the two contradicting views that you come across, that you may come across. Basically, if you if you watch various videos on YouTube, or if you're able to interact with the seniors, you may come across such kind of contradictory views. So first of all, let us start from there, okay? Let us not go into the structure of the exam. That's not required now. First of all, whether CSAT is important or not, that we'll discuss. So come on, tell me whether CSAT is important or not, or why CSAT is important. Why you feel that CSAT is important? Because CSAT is only a qualifying exam, right? Just we have to qualify in that. Then why CSAT is important? Yes, anyone? Why you have to qualify in CSAT? What will happen in case you don't qualify? Simple, very simple. So that's the basic objective. See, the objective of getting through CSAT is that if you only when you are able to get through CSAT, I mean to say paper 2, okay, then you can, your paper 1 will be evaluated. Okay, as you are all freshers, I would like to tell you that if you take prelims, there are two papers, paper 1 and paper 2. When you take CSAT, I am talking about paper 2. Until and unless you are qualified, okay, you get qualifying marks in paper 2, your paper 1 will not be evaluated. So simply they'll throw it away in case any student is not, I mean to say, he did not get the minimum marks in paper 2, that is CSAT. So this is very important point that you are supposed to know. So how many marks you are supposed to get in that? So please note, in order to qualify in CSAT, you are supposed to get 33%. Am I clear? 33%. In this way, the point number 1 is clear that CSAT is important. Yes or no? CSAT is important. Now, when CSAT is important, the next point is that why coaching is required? Because it's only qualifying in nature. 33%. Can't we get 33% out of 100? Right? 33%. 200 marks, 66 marks. So if you're able to attempt, I say around 27 questions, that's enough. 27 questions, you're going to get 67.5. You're supposed to get 66 marks. So 27 questions, 67 marks, finished. So whether you are supposed to take coaching, whether coaching is required, right? Whether coaching is required or not, that we'll discuss now. So the first point is clear that CSAT is important, right? Next, why CSAT is important, we have discussed. Now, why CSAT is important? See here. Say paper 1 will be evaluated only if the candidate scores a minimum of 33% in paper 2, as already discussed. Okay, so CSAT paper 2 will be evaluated first to check the eligibility of the candidate. Am I clear? Right. So next point is whether his coaching is required for CSAT. Because yeah, let us have an open discussion. I don't want to say that you have to join with sourcing classes immediately. Because first of all, you have to convince yourself whether coaching is required or not. Right. So whether coaching is required or not. Now please note, if you see the recent analysis, okay, you can watch on video, your YouTube will come across. I am not talking my view. I am giving you the analysis, what the scientific analysis, what has been done pan-India, across India. That is, if you see here, please note, this is what you are supposed to know. So how many engineering graduates are here? Oh, very good. Okay. So this is a point that to be noted. Why even, see even, why even engineering students are unable to qualify in CSAT? When I say even, leave aside the non-max students, even engineering students are unable to qualify in CSAT. Why? See, point number one. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm not pointing you. In general, I'm speaking. See, when you take the engineering students, or I'm to say max students, let us, why we say engineering students? Let us say any student who has got mathematical oriented, they feel that CSAT can be easily got through. That's not an issue at all. So there's a reason, please note, they don't prepare for that. So that's a important point that to be known. Inadequate preparation, inadequate planning. So when you have inadequate planning and preparation, automatically what will happen is that you're going to face bounces, and the person who has thought in that way, who has planned in that way, please note is going to fail. So there's a point number one. Understood? In this way, this is a point to be noted. And please note, this point is important with respect to the present CSAT 2020. Do you know why? Because if you take CSAT 2020 as already written, see, out of paper 2, you see, if you take paper 2 CSAT, total 80 questions, out of 80 questions, this time 38 questions are asked only from mathematical point of view. When I say mathematical point of view, I'm talking about arithmetic, I'm talking about pure maths. Okay, when I say pure maths, including basic numeracy, including everything, 38 questions are asked only from mathematics in general. Clear? So this is a point to be noted. So please note, people are unable to qualify in that, and I'm going to show you the latest analysis. See here. This is what has been done this year. The scientific analysis done by one of the famous, reliable persons. So this is what the analysis they gave you. It is a known fact that it is CSAT and not the paper 2 in civil services prelim exam that is meant to eliminate candidates in the first stage. So please note the exam, what is the objective of CSAT? To eliminate the candidate. So why CSAT has been included in civil services? Basically to eliminate the candidate. Can you tell me on an average how many candidates are going to write CSAT? I mean to say civil services? Any idea? You take this year, you take last year, you take even before year, around 8 to 10 lakh people. If you take this time, 10 lakh 38,000 people have appeared, I mean to say have applied for that. Okay, leave aside that matter. Say for example 10 lakh. Out of 10 lakh, say that 50%, 5 lakh people are going to write in that. Out of 5 lakh, how many people have to be eliminated? Around 4 lakh 80,000. So in case 4 lakh 80,000 people have to be eliminated, come on, tell me what they have to do. Simple. Come on, make CSAT paper tougher. So that is the reason, please note, the basic point what I want to tell you is that, of course, every time CSAT is for elimination purpose only, but this time the strategy has been changed. Understood? That's what you have to understand. So in this way, please note, basically this exam has been conducted to eliminate the candidates. That is the reason, please note, if you take this time, say this is what the analysis that you're supposed to know with respect to 2020. See, this year in civil services prelims 2020, many candidates who scored 100 plus, many candidates scored 100 plus have failed in CSAT paper. So though you got 100 plus paper, though the students have got 100 plus in paper 1, they did not qualify in paper 2. So there's a reason, please note, even I know a person who has got 140 marks. When he has attempted, when he's checked, he has got 140 marks, but unfortunately he could not get through CSAT. See how sad the situation is, how precarious. So there is a reason, please note, this is a very important point that you have noted. So the number of candidates who have failed in CSAT is significantly high this year. Understood? You can check. See, what all the things I am discussing with you, you need not agree with me. You can check in the market, like how the paper is being conducted, what is the analysis of the paper. You check in the market, and based on that, you come to an analysis. Am I clear? In that way, please note, this time what happened is that as the questions, as I've told you, around 38 questions only from mathematical point of view, even the questions that were asked, questions are so tough, I mean to say, tough in the sense unpredictable. So there's a reason, please note, a number of people are unable to qualify in this. Am I clear? So in this way, point number 1, important or not? Yeah, important. Then, coaching is required or not? Yeah. Now you have to decide for yourself whether coaching is required or not. Right? Now, in case coaching is required, so let us say that coaching is required. Then if coaching is required, why you have to join with sourcing classes? Right? Because what all the syllabus that is there in CSAT paper 2, what all the areas that are there in that in general? As I've told you, arithmetic, reasoning and English. Yeah, then why you have to join the sourcing classes? You can join in any bank coaching, bank POs or staff selection commission, combined graduate level. Because same syllabus is there, right? Because this is what the misconception people have got. Whether exam pattern of CSAT is similar to that of staff selection commissions, combined graduate level or bank POs. Please note, that is a misconception. Though the syllabus, though they say, yeah, these are the areas that are in that, but please note, exam approach is different. Exam structure is different. Why it is different? See, there are two things that you have to understand. With respect to CGL and bank POs, the areas are predictable. Like what all the areas that are there, every time they're going to repeat the same areas. You can check. For example, you take bank POs, you take SBA or you take IBPS or you take any bank PO or bank clerical examination. With respect to reasoning I'm talking about, there are 5 to 6 areas which are important. One is seating arrangement, puzzle test, syllogisms, coding decoding, coded inequalities. I'm just giving you. With respect to arithmetic, number series 5 questions, around 15 questions from data interpretation and another 5 questions from quadratic equations, finished. So these are the areas that are there with respect to bank POs, arithmetic and reasoning. Whereas with respect to CGL, if you take CGL pattern, let us take reasoning, you'll come across 3 to 4 questions from non-verbal reasoning, including cubes and dice, then series, analogy, classification, 3 bits in that way. So this is predictable. You take for the last 10 years, they did not change the predictability. You can just look at the papers, you can find out what all the areas that are there, just focus on that. Even with respect to arithmetic of CGL, you can predict, say 5 questions from data interpretation, say 3 questions from time and distance, 3 questions from time and work in that way. So, lot of predictability exists with respect to what? CGL or with respect to bank POs. But please note, when you take CSAT, totally unpredictable. Why it is unpredictable? Right? You can check the papers. In 2018 CSAT, 14 questions were asked from data interpretation. 14 questions are asked from data interpretation. People thought that, yes, this is very important because 14 questions. 14 means how many marks? 35 marks only from data interpretation. People thought that, yes, definitely we have to focus on that. So people have started focusing on that. In 2019, can you tell me how many questions? A big zero. A big zero. Not even a single question was asked. Not even a single question was asked from data interpretation in 2019. And if you take 2020, one question. Only one question was asked from that. So this is the most unpredictable thing that you come across in CSAT. Am I clear? If you take puzzle test, there is area called puzzle test or we say problem solving. If you take 2018, you can check what all the things I have told you. You can check. If you take 2018, please note, 12 questions were asked from that problem solving puzzles I told you. If you take 2019, I think around 3 questions. If you take this time around 2 to 3 questions, even I cannot call them as puzzles. They are so simple, but they are miscellaneous. So what all the things that were earlier asked, the same model may not be repeated or the same area may not be repeated. So total unpredictable. That's the reason I say UPSC stands for Unpredictable Public Service Commission. You cannot say UPSC because it's totally unpredictable. So this is the reason, please note, the exam approach, the exam pattern cannot be matched with respect to bank POs or SSC CGL. It's totally unpredictable. You cannot predict. So if you take reasoning point of view, around 21 areas are there in that. And they can ask question from any of these areas, from nook and corner. So that is the reason, please note, if at all you want to qualify in CSAT, you have to focus on all the 21 areas. Clear? With respect to arithmetic, around 19 areas are there, including everything. So you have to focus on all the 19 areas. Am I clear? So in this way, please note, there's a very important point that you have to note because this exam is totally different from CGL or with respect to bank POs. Am I clear? So these many areas are there. When these many areas are there, now tell me whether time is sufficient for us to prepare for this. Yes, of course, CSAT is important. Yeah, coaching is required. But is it really possible? Or like how the questions are going to be asked? Because if you just look at the papers, can we prepare based on the previous papers? Or even if I take coaching, whether will I be able to succeed? Or in what way the questions are different with respect to bank POs or CGL? Now please note, the questions that will be asked in CSAT, usually I'm talking about in general, the questions will be, okay, yeah, see mathematical oriented this time. And the questions will be, please note, whether they are logical or technical or process oriented. What is the meaning of process oriented technical? When I say logical, the questions are basically pure based on the logic. If you're able to know the concept, based on the concept, the questions will be asked. So questions will be more of logical in nature rather than technical oriented. If at all you take bank POs or CGL exam, please note the questions will be technical oriented, process oriented. So this is important point that you have to note. Okay? Now, just if you take the brief analysis of 2020, 38 questions are asked from quantitative aptitude in CSAT 2020. Okay? So there is an alarming sign. Then only 16 questions from logical reasoning. Generally, when you take the reasoning part, we are going to come across 25 questions. 25 questions from reasoning part, around 25 questions from English, and around 30 questions from quant. This is a general trend, but this time what happened? Straight away 38 questions are from quant. Understood? And 16 questions from logical reasoning. So high degree of unpredictability. So this is what you have to understand. So I am talking about the present analysis of the paper. So based on the present analysis, this is what is being done. So tomorrow if you take next year, I don't say that this the same thing will be repeated. Yeah, maybe they may focus on reasoning. They may exclude arithmetic and they may focus more on reasoning. So I don't deny say that you have to just go by this because as I've told you, totally unpredictable. We don't know on which areas are the questions going to be asked. Am I clear? So this is what you have to keep in mind. So all this said and done, now, how the questions are going to be asked? Whether the questions are, as I've told you, logical or process oriented. What is logical and what is process oriented? Anyone? Logical. Questions are logical, process oriented. See, if you take bank POs or staff selection commission, the questions that will be asked there, where you have to work a lot. Process oriented. See, a lot of calculations are required, a lot of steps are required in that way. But please note here, it's not like that. Questions are basically logical oriented. Like what is that logic? That we'll discuss with the help of certain questions. Whether questions are logical or process oriented. See, now let us discuss a few questions. Okay? Of course, I'm not teaching the subject. I just want to tell you how the questions are going to be asked, and you may be knowing it because I am picked up the question that were asked in 2020, of course, some models. Now see, like how the questions are going to be asked in CSAT. Let us discuss that. Of course, this was just a model question. Okay, because I told you what is a logic. Instead of telling what is a logic theoretically, I just want to show it in practically. Now just look at the question. So this question comes under the topic called coding, decoding. Okay, I have just given a simple question. Just look at the question. In a certain code, sponge is coded as EGNOPS. Speed is coded as DEPS. Then spoon is coded as NOPS. Okay, in that way, how splash is coded? Come on, tell me. A very simple question, right? Very simple question. So what is the answer? Yes, anyone? How splash is coded? Yes. H, S, A, L, P, yes. Yes, that's the answer. But please note, you are mistaken. You are mistaken. See, our eyes are so lazy that we'll try to see first couple of examples. You have to see all the examples because you are preparing for civil services. You are not preparing for bank exam. So please note, two things are very much important. Keen observation of the question. Keen observation of the question, point number one. Then what is the logic that is there behind the question? So I am discussing on the logical part. There is a logic there. See, this is not a simple question. It's not like that. See, SPONGE, sponge. Come on, reverse it. EGNOPS. Reverse coding. No, it's not reverse coding. You have to look at all the given examples. Look at all the given examples and tell me what is the answer. So this is called as logic. So most of the questions that are going to be asked in civil services, IMETUS and CSAT, questions will logical in nature rather than process oriented. It is a simple logic here. So this kind of logic they're going to pick up and they're going to incorporate that logic in the question and the question will be based on the logic. So in this way, please note, the exam approach is totally different from bank POs or CGL. I think you're convinced. Okay, now tell me the answer. Huh? A, H, L, Y? Very good. So please note, that is, so initially you got this answer and in the options they're going to give you this and immediately what you're going to do? You're going to tick that, but that is not the answer. Why? Because here they have gone What they have done, what all the letters that are there in the word, all the letters have been arranged in alphabetical order. You can just look at that. See, sponge, S-P-O-N-G is written as E-G-N-O-P-S. So the letters have been arranged in alphabetical order. So every example says that. But they have twisted the question in such a way that when you see the first three examples, they are misleading you because they say that it has been done in reverse order. But in fact, it's not like that because you have to see the fourth example. That's what I'm telling you in keen observations required with respect to civil services. See here. Spin is written as INPS. So INPS. So based on that, when you take here, okay, see the letters have been arranged in alphabetical order, INPS. In that way, when you take here, please note, first of all, you have to pick up A. So after that, H, L, P, S, yes. Am I clear? So this is what is called as logic. So questions will be logical oriented. Now I am going to discuss the question that was asked in 2020. Come on. So read the question carefully. Read the question carefully because I want to tell you what is logic. Okay? Now don't tell me if you know it because already you have admitted the exam, right? See the question. Read the question carefully because I want to tell you what is the logic that is there in that. You have to understand the logic. Logic can be understood only if you are able to understand the question carefully. If you are able to read the question carefully, you are able to understand that. Yes. What is given in the question? See the statement. See the first statement. The letters from A to Z are numbered 1 to 26 respectively. What is the meaning of that? Respectively. That means A stands for 1 and Z stands for 26. So we know that 26 letters are there. So it's a simple statement. The statement says that each letter is numbered from 1 to 26. That is to say A is equal to 1, B is equal to 2, C is equal to 3, so on and so forth. Am I clear? This is the meaning of the first statement. Now see the second statement. Based on that, if GHI is equal to 1578, if GHI is equal to 1578 and DF is equal to 912, then what is the code for ABC? Because the statement clearly says the letters have been numbered from 1 to 26. So A stands for 1, B stands for 2, C stands for 3. It's a very simple statement. And the question is so simple, but you have to understand the logic there. So this is called as logical oriented. Questions are not process oriented. What is a process oriented? For example, of course, I'm just giving you. Say for example, they give a question like this, speed. If it is coded as, okay, R, U, E, F, G. This is called as technical oriented. These are the questions that you're going to come across in bank POs or staff selection commission combined graduate level. But I'm not asking you this. I'm not discussing on the process oriented. I'm discussing on the logical oriented. It's very simple. Just see this. See the example GHI. How GHI is coded. Now, I told you, you have to observe the question carefully. First, see the first statement again. I'm repeating the first statement. What they say. Each letter is numbered based on that. Can I say that? A stands for 1. B stands for 2. Right. Now, tell me in that way, G stands for 7. H stands for 8. I stands for 9. But what is the number they gave you there? 1578. Any idea how you got this number? Multiply? Simple. 789 into 2. 9 2s are 18. 8 2s are 16 plus 1, 17. 7 2s are 14 plus 1. So simple. What they have done? The numbers, see, they have taken the numbers based on the letter. What the number that you have got, that number has been doubled. So 789 into 2. You can also see the next example. See DEF. DEF. D stands for 4. E stands for 5. F stands for 6 into 2. Understood? So 12, 11, 912. In the same way, please note, they are asking for A, B, C. Okay? So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. So what is the answer? 123. Come on, double it. 246. So 246. What is the answer? B. So in this way, the questions are going to be asked. So this is the question that was asked in 2020. Am I clear? Right. So let us discuss a couple of examples so that we'll be knowing it. Now see, a very simple question. Of course, this is a model I'm just giving you. Okay, because you will be knowing about years and all these things, right? So I'm not discussing on the concept, please understand. See that. There are some special persons who are born on a special day. What is the longest gap that these persons will have to wait between two consecutive birthdays? For example, say that I celebrate my birthday on a particular day, say September 14th or September 20th. Even next year also I am going to celebrate birthday the same day. So what is the longest gap? Only 1 year. But here, that's not the question here. You please understand. What is the longest gap? That means on a particular day he was born. That's a special day. If you consider that particular day, what is the longest gap between two consecutive birthdays? Any idea? You might have heard about leap year. What is a leap year? One more day. That has been added in the month of February. But when that leap year will be repeated? Yeah, every fourth year. Can I say that? Like if you take from the years, see first to fourth year, 8, 12 in that way. So every fourth year is a leap year. Say that a person was born on February 29. You take a leap year, say that leap year, for example, you take 2000. Or you can take this year, 2020. 2020. Say a person was born on 29th February 2020. So he was born on which date? 29. So when he is going to celebrate his birthday? Exactly on the same day. Next year? No, because next year is not a leap year, right? So after how many years? 4 years. So what is the answer? 20? 24, because 4 years, 20 plus 4, how many years? 24. So what is the answer? 4 years, but answer is wrong. That is not 4. Huh? Yeah, between any two consecutive, I told you. First birthday, second birthday, between two. So generally we feel that answer is 4. But please note, here you have to apply a logic. That's not 4, because you have missed one logic here. Every fourth year is a leap year, but every century year is not a leap year. Please understand. See, I'm not discussing the subject. I just tell you, and just wanted to tell you like how the questions are going to be asked in civil services. Okay? Every fourth year is a leap year, but every century year is not a leap year. Am I clear? Say, for example, a person was born on 29th February 1896. He will not be celebrating his birthday on 29th February 1900 because 1900 is not a leap year. Okay, why that is not leap year, that we'll discuss once you join here. Okay, understood? So 29th February, the date is not existing in 1900. So he will be celebrating his birthday on 29th February 1904. Clear? So in this way, the longest gap between two successive birthdays is not 4 years, 8 years, because you have to see the superlative degree. Longest gap, I told you, longest. So that is 8 years. So what is the answer there? Fourth option. Answer is D. So this is what is called as logic. Understood? So in this way, you have to build up the logic. Then how you are going to build up the logic? That means someone has to train you, right? So how you have to get trained, that's important. Because I've told you, there are 21 areas in reasoning and 19 areas in arithmetic where you are supposed to get trained. When I say trained, I mean to say you have to know the concept and what is the logic behind the concept. How to apply the logic, how to apply the concept. Because I've told you, I'm telling you that questions are not process oriented, questions are logical oriented. But if you at all you want to know the logic, first of all you have to know the concept. Concept is important. So this is what you have to know. Yes. 2020. For certain questions, what you are supposed to do? See, one is, some questions, you can just look at the question, you'll try to get the answer. For certain questions, what you are supposed to do? You have to go based on the options. In civil services, you're going to come across around 20 questions based on the options. Based on the options. Here you have to go based on the option. Oh, sorry. Okay, this is not this question, next question. Yeah, this question, just look at the question. Any idea what is a prime number? If you have idea, it's okay. Even if you don't idea, that's okay, no problem. Or by 1, very good. So a number which is divided by itself or by 1 is called a prime number. For example, you take 3, you take 2, you take 3, you take 5, you take 7, you take 11, you take 13. They're all divided by the number itself. You take 13, 13 is divided by 13 itself, or 13 is divided by 1. So any such number which is divided by itself or by 1, that number is called as a prime number. Okay, the simple definition. Now see this. What they say, see the question carefully. A simple mathematical operation in each number of the sequence, they say sequence. You have to say the series, sequence. Okay, there's a sequence. 14, 18, 20, 24, 30, 32 results in a sequence with respect to prime numbers. So please note that sequence is built up based on prime numbers. So they've given you a clue. They say that they've taken a sequence and that sequence is being built on what? On prime numbers. Right. Which of the following is the next number in the sequence? Of course, you are supposed to know the prime numbers. Okay, the sequence of the prime numbers. The question is based on that. But please note, in case you know the prime numbers, question is so simple because it's a simple logic. It's a simple logic. Yes, anybody? What is the answer? Very good. Why 38? 13 plus 1. Next prime number is 17. Correct. Yeah. Right. Okay. So please note here, what they have done is that, as the question says, they have taken the sequence based on the prime numbers. Now, when you take the sequence of the prime numbers, okay, it's like this, 13. After 13, the next prime number is 17. After that, it is 19. After that, it is 23. Next, it is 29. Next number is 31. And what is the next number? Based on that, you build up the logic. Understood? So in this way, when you take prime numbers, please note, in the first 100, there are 25 prime numbers. Okay, there are 25 prime numbers. Now, what they have done? See, 13, what the number they have taken? 14. So how much has been added? 1. 13 plus 1. Here, 17 plus 1. 19 plus 1. 23 plus 1, 29 plus 1, 31 plus 1, and what is the next number? Next number is 37. 37 plus 1, what is the answer? 38. So very simple question, right? If you are able to know the prime number sequence, you can easily get the answer. So that is logical oriented, it is not process oriented. So this is what you have to keep in mind. So most of the questions that are going to be asked in civil services will be logical oriented because I am discussing the present trend, please understand. Is it clear? Right. Yeah, even this question I picked it from 2020. I told you, there are certain questions where you have to go based on the options. Here, you have to go based on the options. Okay? It's a very simple question, in fact. Okay? They gave you x, and after that, please note, 1x, clear? Then 5x, xx, then x1. Okay? And they're asking you what is 1x, x. So please note, certain kind of questions you need not work out. It's very simple. Just take the options and based on the options you can work out. As I've told you, there are certain around 20 questions out of 80 where you can just go by options. Now, what is the x value here? Can I say the same x value will be carried to all this because all are x only, right? It's a very simple logic, yes or no? Very simple. For example, if I say this is 2, it must be 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 2. Simple. Now simple, take options. First option 2. If I say this is 2, okay, now you have to get 2 here because that's also x. Now tell me, 2 plus 2, 4, 4 plus 2, 6, 6 plus 2, 8, 8 plus 1, 9. Is it matching? Simple, first option is ruled out. Understood? First option is ruled out. Now take the second option, 3. 3, come on, work out. 3 plus 3. 6, 6 plus 3, 9, 9 plus 3, 12. How much is there? 1. 12 plus 1. Matching or not? So tell me. Simple logic. Answer is 3. Understood? Answer is 3. Okay? So in this way, please note, as I've told you, most of the questions that are going to be asked in civil services will be logical oriented. But in order to build up the logic, first of all, you have to know the concept. Of course. See the question. This was asked in 2020. So you have to know the concept. What is discount? What is service tax? Discount is calculated on what? Concept. But please note, question is so simple. Question is not technical oriented. Understood? Question is so simple. Okay. So I just want to tell you how the questions are going to be asked. Of course, I'll just give you the answer here. Question is so simple that in case you know the concept, you can forget out. Because why am I telling you that you have to know the concept is because of this. See what they say, just look at the question. A shop owner offers the following discount options on an article to a customer. Say discount is given on the market price. If you take a particular item, say that you have gone to the supermarket, you have gone to any retail outlet, you want to buy, they say that discount is being offered. Discount is given on what? Discount is given on the printed price. You take that particular item, they're going to print a price on that discount is given. After the discount, you're going to buy that. Now they say that, which is the best option? See, first option, second option, third option, which of the following is correct? This is the answer. This is what they're asking you. So which is the best option? So please note, first of all, you take an item, on that they're going to give you discount, and after that again the discount is given, because you see the statement, successive discounts of 10% and 20% and then pay a service tax of 10%. What is the meaning of that? First of all, they're given a discount, again a discount on that, after that you have to pay service tax. That's one thing. Take second one, successive discount of 20% and 10%, then pay service tax of 10%. Take third statement, pay a service tax of 10% first. First of all, pay service tax. Then successive discount of 20%, 10%. Now you have to find out which is the correct option, which is best to the customer. See the options? Because I told you, you have to look at the options. Based on the options, you have to figure out. Okay? Only one only is the best option for the customer. 2 only is the best option for the customer. 3 only is the best option for the customer. And all the options are equally good for the customer. Right? Okay. Now I'll give you the background behind this. Now, 9 into 8 into 11, what is the answer? Say you're going to get some number. Okay, let us not worry about the calculation part, because I told you, in CSAT, calculation is not required, logic is required. 9 into 8 into 11. Now, say that I've taken 8 into 11, 9 into 11. Now, what the value that you're going to get here, and what the value that you're going to get here, with the values will be same or different? Same, right? 9 into 8 into 11, you're going to get some value. Even if I take 8 into 9 into 11, you're going to get same value or not? Why? Because numbers are jumbled, but numbers are same, right? Digits are same. In the same way, for example, if I take 11 into 8 into 9, come on, tell me, are you going to get any change in the value? No. So only the numbers are jumbled. So whether you take first option or second option or third option, all are one and the same. The customer is going to get benefit equally from all the things. You take which one. So all the options are equally good for the customer. Understood? So why I have taken 9? Because customer has got discount of 10%. From 100, if you remove 10, how much will be there? 90. 90 by 100 is nothing but 9. 90 by 100 is nothing but 9. See, 9. Okay? After that, again 20% discount. If you remove 20%, how much is left out? 80%. 80 by 100 is nothing but 8. And you are going to get 10%. 100 plus 10, 110. 110 by 100, 11. So 9 into 8 into 11, or 8 into 9 into 11, or 11 into 8 into 9, all are one and the same. See the logic. See how the question has been constructed in civil services. Understood? So answer is, all the options are equally good for the customer. So it's very simple. You have to know the concept. Whether you join here or not, I'm telling you, build up the concept. Based on the concept, you have to know the logic. Only then you're going to get through the exam, because the exam is not so simple, I'm telling you, because questions are of unpredictable nature. Is it clear now? Right. Hope I'm not boring you. Okay, right. Now, even this question was asked in 2020. See, I'm picking up all the recent questions, all the latest questions. And you know, this is the first time that they focused on indices and certs. Okay? If you take this particular year, around, I think, see, around 11 questions are based from number system. Okay, number system. So, basic numeracy. See the question. This is what is asked. Okay. Come on, tell me, if I give you like this, what is the meaning of this? 8 square? 8 into 8, right? It's very simple logic. 8 into 8. Now, if I give you like this, 1 by 8 into 8. Okay, if I give you like this, please note it is 1 by 8 into 8. Or, can I say like this? 8 to the power of minus 2 can also be understood as 1 by 8 to the power of 2. Am I clear? 8 to the power of minus 2 can also be understood 1 by a to the power of 2. In the same way, when you take here 1 by 2 to the power of minus 6 can also be understood as 1 by 1 by 2 to the power of 6. Understood? So automatically 2 will be coming up. So it's nothing but 2 to the power of 6, nothing but 64. Okay? 64. Applying the same logic for the second one, 1 by 4, it becomes how much? 4 cube, that's nothing but 64. In the same way, it becomes 3 to the power of 4, that is 81. You take 6 square, it becomes 36. So very simple logic. And see what's being asked there. Which is the largest number? Come on, tell me, which is the largest number? 81. So if you're able to know the concept, simple logic. Understood? So I just want to tell you how the questions are going to be asked. Okay, because I told you that I don't want to have monotonous discussion with you. First of all, you have to know what is CSAT, why it is important, how the questions are going to be asked, how this paper is different from other exams. Okay, what is logic, what is process oriented. I think now you are clear with logic, because I did not discuss any question on process. Because see, please note, out of 80 questions, you are supposed to solve 27 questions correctly without committing any other mistake. So 27 questions you're going to you're going to fetch 67 and a half. Simple. 27, 67. Remember that, you're going to get through that. Is it clear now? Right. So now let us come to the structure of the exam. Right. Structure of the exam. Right. If you take CSAT, please note, the total number of questions are 80. Okay, 80 questions are going to be asked. Marks for each question, how many? 2.5. Okay, 2.5 marks. So 2.5 into 80, that is equal to 200. Total marks are 200. And you are supposed to solve this in 2 hours. That means 200 questions, 2 hours. 100 questions in 1 hour, or for each question, you are going to get 1.5 minutes to solve that. Okay, then negative marks, how much? 1/3. 1/3 mark. You're going to lose 1/3 mark for every mark. So what is that? Is it clear now? Am I clear? So 80 questions. Each question carries 2.5 marks. In this way, you're supposed to solve 80 questions in 2 hours. So that means for every question, the time that is on an average, you're going to get 1.5 minutes. Okay, 1.5 minutes. Is it clear now? Now, how these marks are going to be calculated? Okay, before that, like, what is the general weightage? See, I am not saying that specific weightage, generally how the questions, like what is the weightage that you come across. Basically, we can say that there are 3 areas in that. Okay, reading comprehension, logical reasoning, and quantitative aptitude. See, when I say English, it is not English, reading comprehension. They're not going to test you on grammar and all those things, active voice, passive voice, direct, nothing. Reading comprehension. Okay, so that approximately 30 questions, but this time 25 questions. Generally 30 questions, because people are good at English, they feel that no problem, 30 questions are going to be asked. If I just focus on 30 questions, I'm going to get through. No, game changed. 25 questions are asked this time. You take logical reasoning, 25 questions. People feel that 25 questions, come on, I can get through because 25. I just get another 2 questions more. No, game changed. 16 questions are asked this time. Understood? Quantitative aptitude, around 25 every time, but this time 38 questions. Clear? So in this way, please note, totally unpredictable. Then, how negative marks are calculated? Because I told you 1/3 mark. Now say for example, say that you have committed 12 questions wrong. Okay, 12 questions went wrong. That means you attempted 12 questions. Okay, 12 questions went wrong. Then how many marks you're going to lose? Because I've told you that you're going to lose 1/3 mark for every mark. Right, now I'll tell you. 12 questions. First of all, each question carries how many marks? 2.5 marks, 2.5. So 12 into 2.5. But I told you that you're going to lose negative mark. You're going to lose questions because already the 12 questions that have been attempted, they're all wrong. So for each question or for each mark, you're going to lose 1/3. So 12 into 2.5 into 1/3. Am I clear? Into 1/3. So it goes how many times in this? 4 times. 4 into 2 and 5. How many marks? 10 marks. So you're going to lose 10 marks. Am I clear? So this is what you have to understand, because you have to know how to calculate negative marks. Is it clear now? Understood? In this way. So this is a very important method to be noted. That is the reason, please note, you have to always carefully observe the questions given there, and you have to see which questions are to be attempted, which questions should not be attempted, because out of 80 questions, your goal is that you have to get 30 questions Correct. Let us say 30. Okay, out of 80, try to get 30 without committing any mistake. Simple. If you get 30, simple. You have done. Clear? Then, having said all this, then, why have you come here? So why you have to join the sourcing classes? See, if you check at various centers, you can check. People, they have got a misconception, even institutes have got a misconception that CSAT, no, it's only a qualifying exam, coaching is required. No, that's the reason most of the institutes, they don't offer coaching. Even if they offer coaching, what they do? They're going to finish everything in 30 hours or 40 hours. But no, here we don't do that because here everything is important, this is sourcing classes. That is the reason, please note, only for, if you take a reasoning and arithmetic point of view, minimum 70 hours. I can say around 70 hours only for this. You can check elsewhere, anywhere, across pan-India. Okay, people at the most, they'll be limiting to 40 hours only. But here we are going to spend 70 hours. 70 hours on that only with respect to reasoning and quant. And another 30 hours on English. So in this way, total 100 hours top is that. Understood? In this way, please note, you're going to get comprehensive coaching on that. So this is what you have to understand. Like how we will be going on that. For every question, for every topic, please note, we're going to discuss the concept because I told you concept is important. Until and unless you know the concept, you may not be able to solve the questions. Understood? So in this way, topics dealt by subject expert because I've told you that I've got around 18 years experience on that. Even if you take English faculty, is much more experienced than me. He has got around 24 years experience. He'll be handling GRE, GMAT students. So he's a great faculty. So 15 years of experience, then comprehensive coverage of each area, understood? So each area will be covered and we're going to discuss a classroom handout if it is offline. If it is online, the same handout will be replicated and we are going to give you a practice handout, okay? So this is the way it goes and after that we'll be conducting practice tests. After that, doubt solving sessions, any doubt they have got, no issue at all, we're going to cover that. And the most important point is that, please note, with respect to each topic that would be covered under each area, what we do is that the classroom handout if you take, okay, we are going to discuss all the models, okay, logical oriented models with respect pertaining to CSAT and what were the previous questions that were asked with respect to that particular topic, all the previous questions will be incorporated at the fag end of the handout. You can see any handout of sourcing classes, we'll be doing that. So that you'll be having a focus like how the questions are going to be asked, okay, how the questions were asked, what it may be. In this way, we want to give you a complete picture. That is the reason all the previous questions will be incorporated under each topic. Am I clear? In this way, you'll be having a complete idea on that. Okay, and doubt solving sessions, and after that, please note mock test as per the exam format. Okay, so in that way, how many hours did I say? 100 hours. Okay, how many months? Let us say 7 months. 100 hours, 7 months. That means 10 hours every month. Can I say that? In that. So, if you are able to spend around, say, around 10 to 15 hours every month, you're going to clear that. So, 15 hours every month means how much time every day? Let us take half an hour. Can't you spend half an hour on CSAT? So on an average, if you take, you have to spend around half an hour on CSAT. Of course, if you take coaching, we may be having 2 hours, but on an average, I'm discussing. So if you're able to spend around half an hour each day, on an average, I'm telling you, you can easily get through this exam without any hurdles. Because I told you that CSAT is very important, because until and unless you clear CSAT, you cannot, your paper of paper 1 will not be evaluated, and I don't want any sad picture on that, because that's what happened this time. N number of candidates failed in paper 2. Okay? So we are with you. Don't worry. Clear? Right. Any doubts? Everything is fine? If you have doubts, we'll discuss. Yeah. Okay? So I thank you very much. Okay? So please take a wise decision, because CSAT is not a simple one. Okay? Though it is a qualifying nature, you cannot take it in a lighter vein. Understood? Because it has got its own weightage. Okay? So thank you very much.